I was having a therapy session, and the therapist actually told me I was being a bad person. I was telling the therapist about an altercation or a little bit of conflict I was having with another female in my life, and she said, "But you know what it feels like to be a female. You know what it's like to be in uncomfortable situations. So why are you being a bad person and making it harder for her?" Now, I'm assuming what happened in this situation is something I was sharing triggered some sort of past experience that she had had. Maybe she was on the receiving end of someone not liking her quite that much, and she brought that into the session. This is a big therapist no no, and it's called transference. So, today I want to talk to you about the features of good therapy and the features of bad therapy. Good therapy includes a complete safe environment. Safe means you feel comfortable sharing just about anything. It means you don't hesitate. You feel like you're not going to be judged. You feel like the person is empathizing with you. Now, this doesn't mean that they graze over anything maladaptive you might be doing, but their delivery is always empathetic, kind, and compassionate. The second thing that's really important is that the roles are clearly established. Your therapeutic alliance, meaning the relationship between you and your therapist, should be friendly, but not like a friendship. The reason for this being is because if those lines get blurred and you start to have more of a friendship vibe, one, you're at danger of the sessions turning into venting sessions, which means you're releasing, but you're not receiving a lot of support or tools back. And number two, you might start to hesitate to share certain details of your life because now you're seeing this person's own personal judgments and personality, which will potentially make you hesitant to share about certain topics. This brings us to our next point, which is the idea of self-disclosure. Now, how many of you have ever been in a therapy session and the therapist kind of takes over with their own stories or their own experiences, and it doesn't really benefit you in any way? Now, what we learn in therapy school is that it's okay to give personal examples only if it really, really benefits the client. So if you're noticing that the therapist is just bringing way too much of their own life into the room, maybe that's something to evaluate and see if you're actually receiving the best kind of support possible. First sessions because of the corporate job that I work in terms of counseling therapy. And in these first sessions, usually I always ask the same thing at the end of every session. I say this in my personal practice too: questions, comments, feedback. And 9 times out of 10, that'll be the time that somebody brings up their previous experience with therapy. And one of the main things that they share is that I just didn't quite ever find a good fit. It wasn't that anything was particularly wrong, but it wasn't right either. So, just like you shop around for the types of products you like, the types of services you like in other ways, it's really important to keep having consultations and keep trying until you find the right fit for you. I never take offense if somebody doesn't quite find a session helpful with me because I'm not meant to be everyone's cup of tea. But you will naturally gravitate towards the practitioners that align with your values, your belief system, and your way to try to make yourself feel better. Outrageous things I've heard from clients is that their therapist fell asleep during the session, is that their therapist started crying during the session, and that the therapist was on their phone during the session. These are major no-nos. Your session, number one, should start on time and end on time. There's a reason for that. And you should feel like you're in the driver's seat. Now, this is one really important thing to note, that your therapist is not there to cure you or fix all your problems. They're there to turn the lights on for the path, so to speak, but you still got to be the one to walk it. If we turn therapy into a coaching situation where they're more in the driver's seat, then this is taking your power and autonomy away. It doesn't create long-standing tools and resources and change because you haven't created that change from the inside out, which means there'll most likely be a regression where things will revert back to how they were before you started therapy. I think I'll end off by saying the final feature of good therapy is that you feel comfortable paying the fee that you are. Now, why is therapy so expensive? It's a transaction of energy. It's not just about the service and then money being given to the practitioner. Think about all the energy that the practitioner is emitting and attributing to that 45 to 50-minute session. What's happening there is that they are giving their inner resources to you. And let's say if the monetary value of what they were receiving back did not match what they were giving you, then the therapist is going to burn out and not have a sustainable professional career. They're going to feel depleted. They're going to feel perhaps even resentful and remorseful of entering this type of profession. And the reason that money is involved in the equation is because it has to be an even playing field. The transactional nature of what's happening in terms of healing has to make sense for both parties. The client is investing in their wellness and providing some sort of monetary value to the practitioner, and the practitioner is applying their skills, their training, their healing energy to the client. So it's a nice, equal, balanced exchange. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you've ever had a bad therapy experience, I am sorry for that. Please keep going. Don't give up. Keep trying different practitioners. Keep having consultations. You will find the right fit. See you next time.